Grace and peace and spoiler alert for Sharkboy and Lavagirl by Robert Rodriguez. For some reason, I have noticed that my children's movie reflections are doing a lot better in terms of views than some of my other movies. I like a lot of action and violent movies, and people don't want to hear what a pastor thinks about bloody movies for some reason. I don't know why. Blood's pretty theological, but a lot of people want to know what I thought about Soul and Onward. And so I watched Sharkboy and Lavagirl, in part because I really like superheroes. And so my wife is really into kids' movies. She was easy sale on this, and we want to check out We Can Be Heroes in a little while. I was so pleasantly surprised by this movie and how deep it is. Sharkboy and Lavagirl is incredibly deep, actually. The thinks you can think with this movie. So Robert Rodriguez, who is a director that has done some incredible dumb action movies, right? Like, he really excels in the hyper-violent space, but has also done some really incredible kids movies, worked with his kids to create this story, and it is so, ever since I watched The West Wing, I've tried to avoid saying so unique, because unique means one of a kind. Nothing can be so unique, but it is so unique. Like there is nothing else even close to similar to this fever dream of a plot, which, despite being so out there and so ridiculous, is also completely relatable. Like, oh yeah, that kind of logic, which is not the kind of logic at the real world at all. It's the logic of dreams, is relatable to me because I dream. And because I've had dreams and I know how dreams work, and they work like that. So it's this brilliant, like the meta-narrative matches the narrative, right? It's a story about a kid that dreams, and that imagines things that aren't real, and that then they turn into real. He imagines worlds that could never be. And the movie is made by kids who dream and who imagine a movie that could never be. They imagine a fictional world of a movie that could never be. And so the way the movie kind of guides you through this swirly whirly gumdrop chocolate fountain of a plot, and as meandering and as disconnected as it is, it's enthralling because it touches something deep inside ourselves about the way that we imagine, and indeed the way our imagination creates reality. As Jojo Siwa would say, if you believe it, you achieve it, you just... And that in order to make something real, in order to create anything and to be creative, we have to create it in our brains first. And one of the best things about creating in our brains is that it's uninhibited. It's unlimited. And so paying attention to kids and the ways they imagine can actually free us up. Now, I'm a pastor, and this is theological work. I mean, to talk about dreams and to talk about visions is to talk about theology. The work of dream interpretation is like real theological work. That's real stuff we do in the world. The Bible is... it has a number of places where dreams are interpreted. The most familiar one is Joseph and the Coat of Many Colors story. He has to interpret the dreams. But for people, they'll sometimes come to me and they'll say, what does this dream mean? I'm having this dream. It keeps coming back, and I think God's trying to tell me something, and sometimes he is. So how do we do that? How do we interpret dreams? If you're wondering, by the way, if you have a dream, one of the questions I like to ask to help people interpret their own dreams, because dreams are contextual. They mean things to us, right? We created the dream, and we it has meaning that makes sense to us. Sometimes it doesn't make sense logically in the way we expect it to. But I like to ask people, if that dream were asking you a question, what would it be asking? And then what's the answer to that question? Sometimes that helps people. Sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes dreams are just ridiculous, and I don't understand all my dreams. But regardless, dream work, it matters, and it's worth doing. Also, I think the idea of a vision, right? Like, your old men will see visions, and your young men will dream dreams. The meaning of a prophetic vision. I'm walking my church through a vision right now, and that's been like co-opted by the corporate world, right? What's our vision for growth in the next quarter? But that's something that like the seer does. The seer sees a vision, and so often by casting a vision, we're creating reality. I see Israel turning from its sins and turning to God. I see Israel being saved. I think that we need some prophets now for environmental activism. I see a planet with clean air and clear water. I see the climate healing itself. It is possible. We can do it. Those kinds of visions have the possibility that when we dream it, we can do it. And maybe a great first step would be allowing ourselves to be a little bit more silly, to be a little bit more outside the box, and to take a little bit more seriously the things that happen in our dreams. Do you think so? Seriously, do you think so? Watch these.